Well, Scott, 2024 continues to kind of suck. I'll be honest. Electronic Arts lays off 670 workers, cancels upcoming Star Wars shooter from Respawn Entertainment. Wow. Samuel Tolbert.
This one hurts.
Yeah, man, this one hurts a lot. I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked by this. It's another day in 2024, which means there's more mass layoffs in the games industry. Wednesday's culprit. Oh, yeah, exactly. Wednesday's culprit is publisher Electronic Arts, which announced that it is cutting 670 workers, or about 5% of its current workforce, as shared by GamesIndustry.biz. As part of these closures, Electronic Arts is canceling an upcoming Star Wars shooter that was being developed by Respawn Entertainment. You know, the people we actually trust with Star Wars? Yeah, they just canceled their latest game.
Oh, and shooters.
Yeah, exactly. This game, which was announced back in 2022 alongside a Star Wars strategy game and a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, was still in early development, but was rumored to feature a Mandalorian character. Though it's not necessarily the titular. Oh, yeah, it doesn't tie in with the show or anything, right?
No.
Not the point. This is not the point. And it, man. Let's continue. Let's just continue with the bad news. Electronic Arts is also closing Ridgeline Games, a studio in Seattle, Washington, that was founded in order to develop a campaign for the next Battlefield game. Oh boy. Criterion will now be leading single-player efforts for the future of Battlefield titles. Criterion, you know the guys behind all the racing games? Yeah, let's put them in the Battlefield.
Oh, I bet they'll do a better job than Battlefield 2042's Zero campaign, but...
The previously announced Iron Man and Black Panther game, which is being developed by Motive Studio and Cliffhanger Games, respectively, are still in development. Well, at least there's that they're holding on to still, Scott. I don't know about that one, but we'll see how it goes. All of this comes with, as Electronic Arts already laid off 774 employees back in March of 2023, which was at the time 6% of the company. Man, oh man. And an additional 50 employees were laid off from BioWare later in the year, with the studio declaring that it needed to be agile in developing Dragon Age Dreadwolf and the Mass Effect game. Neither game currently has a release date. The loss of a new shooter set apart of the Star Wars universe and being developed by Respawn Entertainment is a big blow to the hopes of anyone who likes everything about the premise. Electronic Arts is continuing to slim down its projects. So players should overall expect less games with a great focus on live service projects. This doesn't mean there won't be any new games, of course. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, also developed by Respawn Entertainment, was the 9th best-selling game of the year in the US. It seems overwhelmingly likely that Respawn will, at the very least, close out the trilogy with one final game starring Cal. Man, okay, now I'm pulling in article number 2. EA has canceled Respawn's Star Wars first-person shooter. Andy Robinson over at VGC. So we'll see how much we have to recap here. But announced in 2022, the FPS was being helmed by LucasArts veteran and Medal of Honor co-creator Peter Hirschman, who previously worked on the original Battlefield game or Battlefront games, The Force Unleashed, and more. In a statement published on Wednesday alongside the announcement of nearly 700 company-wide layoffs, EA Entertainment president Laura Mealy said that after a review, it had decided Respawn should focus on the Jedi and Apex Legends series. Quote, Respawn's unique ability to connect with players and create exceptional game experiences is unrivaled in entertainment, end quote. She said in a statement, quote, as we've looked at Respawn's portfolio over the last few months, what's clear is the games our players are most excited about are Jedi and Respawn's rich library of owned brands. Scott,
I'm wondering what that rich library would be. How about Titanfall? That's the one that's missing out of my category.
Oh my goodness. Knowing this, we have decided to pivot away from early development on a Star Wars FPS action game to focus our efforts on new projects based on our own brands while providing support for existing games. It's always hard to walk away from a project, and this decision is not a reflection of the team's talent, tenacity, or passion they have for the game. Giving fans the next installments of the iconic franchises they want is the definition of blockbuster storytelling and the right place to focus. Dude, They could have just spun up a whole new franchise here by giving us this FPS. We already have the Survivor series. Why not go with this other one? It's coming off of Respawn, who is already well known. First of all, before we even get into Star Wars cancellation, back it up. Back it up. Always, our hearts are going out to all the devs that are affected by this. 700 employees. Almost 700 employees. Again, day in, day out. Dude, I don't know what else to do at this point, but we just keep talking about another studio closure, another studio getting laid off, another studio getting hit with layoffs, it's just, when is this going to stop, Scott? Supermassive, another studio just got hit, right? Like, there's so many just keep coming day in and day out. It's exhausting.
Well, until it appears like there's almost nobody left. How could these continue for so long until these companies are just a memory of the past? Because especially if we're going to start closing off some of the things that could have produced new IPs, and it feels like just backing up into a corner. And we're seeing Respawn backed up into a corner. They're going to start pulling out some of their own IPs. Does that mean Titanfall? If it is a Titanfall 3, this would be the worst way to get it. I don't want a consolation Titanfall.
No, and I don't think anybody at Respawn wants to do it that way either, right? They don't want to,
No.
well, we're going to have to go back to Titanfall because the big wigs at EA say that's what we need to do, right? Like, it's not how you do that. Not especially in the creative field. You shouldn't pigeonhole people into producing things. And this is why we get some of the failures that we do get, right? Because their heart's not in it. And then we see the decline of the game comes out, and then a month later, nobody talks about it, right? But yet, Jedi Survivor, as a prime example, right, made massive money. Dude, $443 million, up 30% in game revenue in the Q1 of 2023 last year. Why would you not go with another Star Wars IP that I'd be willing to bet on, dude, would do just as good? It's a first-person shooter from a company, a studio that does a first-person battle royale. And then you partner that with the fact that they're the ones that are at the helm right now when it comes to Star Wars and leading the charge very, very successfully. So what do? You marry those two together, Scott.
Mm-hmm. It does sound like a no-brainer that way.
Baffled.
Is there just not enough of an operating budget and it had to be cut for reasons like that? But to favor putting everybody back onto Apex? That sounds like pigeonholing some of those developers too, and I'm sure some of them love to do it. That's not the case, but
sure.
This is so frustrating to see, and EA just kind of fumbled the ball once again.
It seems that way, honestly. It really does. It feels like we're going back to the days where EA is the worst company in the games industry, right? We're kind of getting to that point once again. Hopefully not, because they've been able to crawl out of that here with Star Wars at the leading charge, with Apex being there as well, right? Then you get talk about Battlefield. Dude, 2042 was a disaster. Then, granted, they've turned themselves around. I'll give it to them. They dropped it to compare it to where it is now. It's a whole different game, right? At the end of the day, it's a different game, which I'm happy to see that DICE was able to pay attention, to listen to the fans, and then really kind of get back on it where the game should be for players, right? I think that's one of the most welcoming things. What's that mean for the future? They
definitely lost money on that.
Absolutely lost money. But when your one studio is leading most of the other studios at EA, what are you doing to them? Right? Like, that's my biggest question. Will we get Titanfall 3, Scott? Is that coming now?
It very well might be, but that's not the way I want it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Once again, right? Our hearts go out to everybody affected. Hopefully they can land on their feet. But day in and day out, we're just...
That is the worst part of all of this.
Absolutely. But, dude, the pool of unemployed devs now is absolutely incredibly large. Incredibly large. So what happens to these people? Do they go now and go, you know what? I'm done with the games industry. All we do is hear about layoff after layoff. I'm done. I'm out. I hope that's not the case. I really do. These are talented, gifted people. And I think they actually belong in this industry to give us the games that we should have got, like this Star Wars shooter. I don't know. Time will tell.